Hi, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I am back with little glitter. Hopefully, people will join me. I lost my internet connection. I do not know why. It's been a little wonky lately. um, so I will wait. I had to end my last live stream. Hopefully, people will join me. Put that on weird, didn't I? Hello, hello. Who's here? Who's here? Hi, Cindy. Yay. My internet connection stopped working, so I'm now using my phone's Wi-Fi or my phone's whatever. Hi, Aura. Okay, I'm back. My internet has been really wonky lately. I don't know. Has anybody else had that problem? I like to blame the solar flares because why not keep it witchy and woo-woo? It could be that I actually need to call my company and have them fix something, which is very probable. So let's see if Meg jumps back on. So I have Meg, Devry, Nicole, Aura, Norma, and there's somebody else. Let me see who's on here. Oh, Joanne. That might be. Oh, sorry. Nope. Not Aura. Oh, J Girl. Got you. Okay. And then let me look at my other PayPal. Nicole, Deborah, Jennifer, I got. Laura, Regina, I got. Okay, perfect. I think I got everybody. So I'm going to put my list here. Meg, are you back? Well, I'll finish saying what I was saying to her because I think it's valid for everybody. So, when you're starting a new business, so I have a friend who's very, very successful. When I say very, I mean very, like sold a company to a very big other company. She's very successful, but she's starting out in something new, where she's having to put herself out there a little more, and she's writing. And she got some feedback that wasn't like, it was, like, oh, it's really heavy. Some people are not into it. And I said, first of all, like, I read these because I like the way your brain works. I'm not friends with you because of your money or you have staff or all of the fancy clothes and all the fancy stuff you wear. I said, I like the way your brain works. Plain and simple. So you're going to find your audience. And this was sort of for Meg. If you're running a business, then you need to deal with it the way you need to deal with it. And ask your family members to not undermine you while you're running your business, whether they agree with you or not. If you are keeping space in a function, it's not up for somebody else to decide how things need to be run. And your energy and your what you do is not going to be for everybody, and that's a-okay. Okay. All right. So here, let me get this list. So, Devry, you were asking a question. If you're here. So I did refund your money the last week, by the way. So I only have you down for one. Oh, and Cindy. Okay, I'm sorry. Why I have you? I didn't have you here, but I had you there. Okay. So I have given you. I don't want you to pay me for that question, first of all, because that's not something you're going to pay me for to ask me. I've literally given you everybody that I know. I don't know anybody else. Like, I don't know. I mentioned a long time ago, I emailed you that woman, Sarah's information. I don't know anybody else who does that work. I mean, the best thing I can think of is like maybe find, excuse me, like a local Facebook group of people that are more spiritual that could come in and help you. Maybe they won't charge you. I literally have no idea other than opening your windows and doing and clearing. I only know, like, I don't do that kind of work. Like, I've done stuff in my own home, but I don't do it for a service. If that makes sense. And so if you have a different question, otherwise I'm going to refund your money because that's not a question that I feel like I should charge for. And I don't mean to leave you in a space of feeling hopeless or I've given you everybody that I know. Meg, what I was saying was, so what I would do is like, I talked to a woman who I'm friends with who's had a business and she's doing something totally different and is making herself more vulnerable. And it was kind of this idea that like, especially when you're doing something that's like what you do, what I do, whatever, it's not for everybody. And like your audience, your clientele aren't your family members, more often than not. And you're running a business so that if you have a problem with a venue, even if it's in their building or has something to do with them, you need to be the person to talk about it. And then even if the other person comes back, you need to say like, what I would appreciate in the future is for you to just say, you need to refer them back to me and say, leave it at that. Because your view of a space from a business standpoint is going to be very different than somebody's view of a space from a like, experiencer standpoint. Like why something may or may not work for you has nothing to do with why it may be fine for them. And also the aspect of people being people pleasers and not wanting to ruffle feathers. And it's sort of like when you run a business, having to deal with those things, especially as a woman, you finally just go like, well, this is the problem. Well, then that's on her. I mean, at some point, it's on them. Like, you can't make somebody come to Jesus. You can't make somebody take responsibility or, can be accountable for their behavior. It just is what it is. And you can either move forward knowing that so my friend's son just had a thing where he had told, so he's in his play and he had told one of the kids in the play, and it's a big play. It's like not just like it's a Broadway play. So it's like, it's a job. It's not like but he apparently developed a little feelings for someone and had told a friend, and then the friend ended up telling everybody, and he was like hurt and just all these feelings. And I said, like, his mom's like, you don't have to forgive people so quickly. I was like, you can forgive somebody, especially if you're working with them. You got to work for another. Okay. Can anybody hear me, or is it just Meg that's having the problem? Can people hear me? Anyway, so the sound is glitching. Okay. We'll see. So, anyway, my my point is that Forgive them and move on, but then remember that this is the behavior. Like, this is a pattern behavior. This isn't something that'll go away. Okay. All right. Devery, are you here? Did you want to ask a question, or do you want me to refund your money? Okay. So I'm not, and I only have you down for one paid question. The question, when you sent money last week, I refunded it. Since I was sick and I wasn't going to be on. General is fine. Okay. Okay, Cindy, we'll fix it. Don't worry. Norma had just paid for a question weeks ago and then never went on. So I just made sure I wanted to throw her name on there since she's here. Okay. All right. Every for a general. Are you having dizzy spells? Like, or do you start to feel dizzy? And is the stuff that you're experiencing in your house like a rattling noise? Or like a door slamming or something? Okay. I just felt dizziness, like feeling dizzy. I don't know if I know. I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss what you're saying, but I feel like there might be a logical explanation to the thumping. But I also feel like you've put like protection stuff around your house, like salts and all those kind of things. I don't feel like the really massive negative energy. I just feel like I'm hearing stuff and I feel like there's a logical explanation to it. Have you opened your windows, by the way, when you're doing all that stuff? Like if you take don't use sage, use frankincense. You can buy frankincense cones at Whole Foods. You can order them online. Don't use sage. And and open your window when you're doing the work. Um, but I still feel like there's something logical to some of the stuff that's happening. So, like, even with the Ring camera, I feel like there's something logical to that. I don't feel like that's like spirit really. I'm not trying to dismiss what you're saying. I'm really not. Um, because like my Ring camera goes off, it will go crazy certain times of the day because of the way the sun hits the camera and the light. So, and you like look at it and it's like nothing, and it'll be like 25 times in an hour. It's like it feels like there's something logical. Or it goes off and it's like it'll just miss some activity, or it'll be like a bug crawling on it. Like it just feels like there's something really logical to that, that it's not something spooky. I know you said you reached out to one guy about it. Did he what did he say about it? I don't think so. So I just want to say that. So I think it's really important then if you're saying like I've been stuck in fear for so long. And I know you know about therapy and all of that, so that's always beneficial. Um, to like somebody who specializes in trauma. He said he cleared everything, including my family, and would work with me again. Okay. So I don't, I just feel like there's some of the stuff that's going on, it's like logical, but sometimes when we're in a state of fear, you see things as being different. I don't know how to explain it. It's like every little thing, right, is a trigger. And so I'm not saying I think you're crazy by any means. I just feel like reminding yourself you're safe, you're protected, universe is watching out for you, you're okay. And then also he's a remote worker, so you don't know if it can work in another state. Listen, you and I are in different states and I can do readings for you. I don't know half these people's real names. I just, like, yeah, I see a quick PayPal maybe, but I don't focus on that. I focus on a screen name. If I can read for people, so we're going to go with that. That doesn't really matter. And remember when I've done stuff where I've done some energy, sending energy and stuff, and Rose was like, my lights are going out here, and all these like stuff can happen wherever. They can do that stuff from a distance. I don't, but I genuinely feel like there's logical explanations to the stuff that you're experiencing. Um, and that yes, there is a lot of fear in it, but I would say that your fear can create things, and there's other practitioners who will talk about fear being able to create energetic experiences, and it's not calling it something bad. I don't know any other way to explain it. It's just it can create it. So I would say, in those moments where you're scared, it's like there's a logical explanation for this. I am safe, I am secure, it's okay. I'm telling you, my Ring camera goes off for all kinds of stuff all the time. And it kept going off and going on off and going off. And it was like, I'm not kidding, it was at least 30 times in an hour. And it was literally just the way the sun sets at certain times of the year. It activates my Ring camera and just perfectly. Okay. I'm saying that I'm not saying it's in your head, but I feel like there's still a logical explanation to some of the stuff that's going on. Um, and sometimes our bodies, like when we're afraid, can create energetic experiences around us, but that it's not an entity, so to speak. It's just our own energy creating stuff. So in those moments, first of all, I do really recommend, especially if you're like, I've had a lot of trauma and all that stuff, if you can find a trauma therapist to help you work through all of that and heal a lot of that. Um, okay. On top of that, though, go into breath work when you're in that, right? So either pull up a Wim Hof and start doing Wim Hof breathing, or just do a meditative, like that focuses on breathing and breath work. Um, Wim Hof might not be the great, but just nice in and out, expansive breaths for like 10 to 15 breaths, and see if that calms your energy enough. You can do a vagal release too to help you get out of a flight or fight mode. So you can put a pack of ice on your chest, your neck area to help get you out of that flight or fight mode. And that can shift the energy and the way things are moving around you. Um, and I say this because as somebody who experiences a lot of stuff, my initial instinct when something funky happens is I stop and go, what's my logical reasoning for any of this happening, especially when it's like creepy stuff, right? That's upsetting me or making me feel afraid. What's the logical explanation for this? I always go to what can that be first, not, oh my God, the fear place. And then even if I think it might be, I go, well, I know that I am powerful. I am safe. This is my plane of existence to experience life in. Whoever is here that doesn't belong here, it's time to go. And I say it as matter of fact like that. And I keep repeating it and you're like, well, I want it to just happen once and be done with it. It's like, if there is another energy that's not yours, which I don't think that that's what it is. I think that there's a creation that's happening here. I don't think you're crazy. But if there is, just be persistent. They have to leave. So it is possible to create phenomena, occurrences from fear. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think that you're crazy. I don't think you're making it up or it's in your head. But I do also think some of the stuff is there's logical explanations for it, especially the Ring camera. But even some of the thumping noises. Especially given that you're in an apartment, right? You're not in a single family home. And then Nicole, if you want to ask your question. So there may be little squirrels in your roof or something. I genuinely feel like it's very logical explanations for it. So when I was looking at your house, I saw like salt around and like little, maybe it's tourmaline or something like that in the corners. And I even saw something under like a sigil under a doormat. So there's different sigils you can do for protection. Like there's one you can do like this where it's like an hour and you point it an arrow you point out from you. So there's like, I don't know if you can see that. Let me write it with markers so it's easier to see. Right, so you would draw it like this, so out from your doorway. There's that one. You can do it under your doormat. Baby squirrels. You have, yes, baby squirrels. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think some of this stuff is just really logical, but it is creepy sounding. I have birds in my roof right now that I'm going to have to actually have, because we don't have an attic. I'm going to have my bathroom ceiling taken out, but I won't. I am waiting because I don't want to hurt their nest. And I have to, so it's going to be very expensive repair because a guy 10 years ago didn't do the work the right way. And so whatever. So you can do that sigil, or you can do this one. And also, by the way, so there's this one. I draw this on my arm sometimes, on my left arm sometimes while I'm doing readings. So just saying. Animals make a lot of really interesting noises and they find ways into things. So I just keep feeling like there's something more logical to what you're experiencing. It might be old energy. So open the windows up and just do a clearing and in the doors and allow energy to come, like to flow out, and clean energy to come in. No, leave them in there. It's not going to hurt anything to have the crystals there. That's totally fine. It just feels like like kind of saying like, people say like, you can just say things like, oh, I call back all of my energy from all corners. It's sort of like I release anything that's keeping any energy here that no longer serves its highest good. Sometimes, and I was explaining to somebody, there's sometimes things happen. It's not hauntings, but it's like if you live in an older home or a home that's like somebody lived in for a long time and they had very routine behaviors, that routine energy, that pattern behavior happening kind of gets stuck there. So sometimes you'll see echoes of that energy. But it doesn't mean the house is haunted. It's just you might hear footsteps walking because somebody walked up those stairs 1,500 times a day, whatever. So you might hear that, but it's not necessarily a haunting. It's just an energetic loop, if you will. Okay. All right, Nicole and Love. Is that okay, Debbie? Are you good? Okay. Nicole, I don't see much for you right now. But I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I don't feel like it's like, oh, it just feels like my focus is a little bit elsewhere. Like I do feel like you are kind of looking at a lot of your own belief systems and doing a lot of the shadow work right now, like looking at your belief systems around yourself and all of your relationships. Specifically with mom and how that pattern repeats itself in other areas of your life. I do also feel like doing a lot there's a lot of inner dialogue going on about comparing yourself to others. Um, what you see of theirs, some of your friends in particular, who I'm seeing like, they're showing me their posts. And it just feels like, remember that people show you what they want you to see. They're not going to show you the messy parts. So should I try to Harmon again? I don't think you need to try Harmon again. I think you need to do the things I'm telling you to do. That I'm telling you. It's sort of like, Devery, pulling in your own power and standing in your own power. So just try and do a little bit of the energetic work on your own. That's what I'm saying is I don't think that there's anything there. But what you can do on a regular basis is just clear the energy from your home, do those little things. But the stuff I feel going on in your house feels like connected to like the little animals and like things like that. It's like there's all really logical explanations. It's just that our fear, especially when we've lived a life of trauma and fight or flight mode, that's our subconscious brain going back to that space of something's wrong, I'm in danger, I need to protect you. But it's no longer protecting you. It's now like making it worse. Where it's sort of like, you can do that clearing on your own. I wouldn't necessarily say that Herman needs to do anything right away. So, Nicole, are you with me still? Okay. So, does that make sense when I talked about Nicole, when I was talking about the inner dialogue? Makes sense. Yeah, everything with my mom and comparing. Okay, and inner perfect. Okay. Um, what's funny is I feel like I do see someone coming in, but it feels much more like more of a physically romantic relationship. um, like it feels like I heard Marvin Gaye, "Let's Get It On." So that's the song I heard, but it's a feeling of like um, just having fun and not looking for it to be serious, and then finding something a little bit more serious in it because you're just lighthearted about it. Like it becomes more, it's like more friends with benefits, and then it becomes more because it just naturally evolves that way. And I feel like even when it happens, you're not going to be like, oh my God, is this the one? You're going to be like, whatever. Like just having fun with it to have fun with it. And I'm not getting a time frame on that. It doesn't feel far out, but I'm not getting an exact time frame. Maybe a couple months. Okay. All right. Let me fix this order so Cindy doesn't reach through the screen and strangle me. Ooh, I didn't take Devery or Nicole off. Sorry, guys. Or ladies, says I don't know that there's any men here. And if you are, hello, speak up, say your name. We don't bite much. Norma, did I ever do a prediction on the Biden loan forgiveness? I did, and I don't remember. I feel like they will, but I feel like so I keep seeing like 2024 as being significant around that. Um, so maybe it's right after the elections that they sort of get to work on it a little bit more. This isn't psychic. This is just what I heard. I heard, like meaning in through conversation with somebody, they were talking about Biden going after some of these PPP loan people. What's going on? Who took out loans and whatever. So there's going to be more on that later, but I feel like the focus more now is on all the stuff like Jack White going after a lot of the January 6th people and all of that. There's also going to be an overhaul in some of this stuff in 2028. So I know that's really, really far out, but that's more on new laws passing around these predatory loans. A lot of stuff is going to be shifting over the next 10 to 15 years. A lot. Like we are going to see big changes around a lot of stuff. So, and a lot of that is because the young generations that are coming up that are now able to vote. I think all of Gen Z will be able to vote by 2028, or some of Gen A is able to start voting in 2028. I know my daughter will be able to vote in 2028. She's technically Gen A, I think. I think she's the older end of Gen A. So, it is that far out. So it's like as those generations start coming up, and there's still some silent generation people. Like my father-in-law is technically part of the silent generation. Um, they're octogenarians and nonagenarians. I think that's how you say 90-year-old. They're a bit older, but it's like there's still some of them there. I mean, Jesus, like some of them are still in freaking office. Um, it feels like by then there's enough people overhauling stuff. There's going to be more changes coming. It looks really scary, and I've said this for a long time. It's going to look really scary and be bad for a while till it gets better. A lot of the stuff that's happening is very concerning, to say the least. But some of the stuff they're doing, they're going to end up shooting themselves in the foot, like DeSantis did in Florida with, going after immigration issues, and then look at they have nobody to work the fields. So, okay. I know you're not angry, Cindy. I was being silly. Okay, so Norma, if you're here, or Cindy, J Girl, if you guys want to just throw your questions up, I can answer them. But things will get better. I also, healthcare is going to change. There's a lot of stuff wrapped up. This is so messed up. I got this kind of talking to somebody. Like I started getting like a download, if you will, while I was talking to somebody about, because he was like, I said, I really believe that we should have a healthcare system that's paid for by our taxes, that we're not long paying premiums, that it's not a for-profit system, that it's like other countries. And he's like, well, I don't think that, criminals and the other people should get first. And I was like, listen, friend, I think that people would not necessarily be in the states that they are of being criminals or whatever if they had good health care, and that if it was just guaranteed. And I know it sounds weird, but it's like if you have a single mom like there's a lot of viruses and things that cause problems down the line that are connected to, and they're finding the connections now that are connected to, autoimmune issues, that are connected to cancer down the line, that are connected to, um, and MS is autoimmune, and that are connected to things like Alzheimer's and all other stuff. So they're making big discoveries. But I think that if people had, healthcare is also mental health care, right? If you had somebody to deal with, to take a kid that's going through major traumatic situations, you're guaranteed that they can get counseling and therapy and things, that they could go on their own and get that they wouldn't have to have mom and dad's permission. They could just go, right? Um, just all kinds of things. I feel like it would lend to a safer society. Now, does that screw up the whole for-profit jail system that's using our prisoners as basically slave labor? Yes. So there's a lot of people who will, it messes up. So corporations, it messes up, not people. There's going to be shifts and changes that are happening, but the powers that be are fighting it right now because there's a lot of stuff that's intertwined. Anyway, okay, Norma, can I tell you um, what you might see is going on with your daughter, Genesis? Her moods are too much. Okay. Can you, so immediately I get the feeling of having like, just not really able to process or regulate her emotions. So you're like, oh, it's the moods are annoying, but it's like, I feel like I can't breathe. Um, like I'm trying to breathe and I can't breathe. I feel like there's this lack of being able to move air through my body and find regulation. I also got this feeling of like I'm floating above everything and I'm seeing everything almost from an out of body experience. Um, so I'm not saying like, oh, she's whatever. I just feel like she doesn't feel grounded or connected to herself. She's not doing drugs. Um, I mean, I hate to say this, but some of this is just there's hormonal aspects to it, and there is aspects of just part of the age of like this is where she should be, right? So I read this really interesting article that talked about like around from the ages of 12 to basically 24, it is a biological thing for us to sort of decide that our parents know nothing, that we need to go outside the village to find the intelligence because it keeps you from inbreeding, kind of thing. And then at 24, you kind of come back into the fold. But it's that aspect of like, there's part of this of just like, I'm dysregulated. I don't know how to regulate my own emotions. I don't know how to regulate the sensory stuff that I'm getting. She may have a little bit of like sensitivity to sound. Um, and then I don't know how to feel like to get back into my body and feel really connected to me. I just feel like I'm like out of body. Um, and there's hormonal shifts happening. And so it's not you, it's not drugs. Um, it'll get better. It's some of it's just growing pains is the best way to put it. So is she ADHD? Do you know? And the sense that I get is like, so I'm overwhelmed just by everything in their day. It's like she needs to make sure she's taking time for herself and getting quiet. Um, there may be an aspect of like a vitamin mineral misbalance. So um, maybe look into making sure her B vitamins are methylated. Um, she just started therapy a few months ago to help. Okay. But it might be there's an aspect of that. Like, so I'm fairly certain my middle child is ADHD. There may be there's sensory stuff for sure. But she's even talked about able to verbalize, like, I get so much more upset than what the issue is. I'm like, I know, it's okay. Like but that is a neurodivergent ADHD autistic kind of thing. Not that saying she's autistic, but it's just like your emotions get way bigger than what they need to be. So some of that is like finding her space back into her body, teaching her breath work. Breath work is amazing. Um, you know, in that moment when she's really upset, remind her, like, where are you? What are you doing? Like that, where your body is, what you're in, to kind of get her out of that weird headspace of being like dysregulated. I'm safe. I'm here. I'm in my house. It's Monday, but it's not. It's Sunday. It's Sunday, July 25th. I'm in my house. I'm safe. I'm wearing a blue shirt. It like kind of brings it down out of the emotion. It's very factual kind of stuff. And I can't remember if it brings you out of your amygdala or puts you back in your amygdala. I can't remember. But I think it's wonderful that she's in therapy because hopefully the therapist will help her, give her tools. But there's other aspects of it too that could be like just A, logical, B, if there is an ADHD component, well, they feel emotions bigger than a neurotypical person. So she'll be okay. She's going to get better. Just 18 is highlighted for me as being important. Um, the other thing you could look at, and this would be like if she's up for it, looking at to make sure she's not estrogen dominant, like has PCOS. Because if her progesterone is low and she's estrogen dominant, even if they're in normal ranges and she's estrogen dominant, having a lower progesterone can make you more sensitive, make you more irritable and moody. Okay. And so, and some of that, so it's like there's a whole stuff. So if she's in therapy, that's wonderful because that'll help her deal with the trauma part of it. And then if you just remember too, like when a child goes off like that, it can be overwhelming. It can be frustrating. You feel like, who do they think they are that they can talk to me this way? That's so rude. But it's like when my kids have their meltdowns, and my oldest hasn't had one in a very long time. More than anything, she'll slam a door now. But my middle one started having some, and she was really dysregulated because she wasn't wearing her earplugs at school, and then she was getting really anxious about school ending. She's not great with transitions, and so she was having a lot of meltdowns, and I was just kind of like, when she was calm, not when she was. I was like, I understand that it's not like, she's go, I hate you, and I'm like, and I always tell them it's okay to hate me. I still love you. I will always love you. We talk about, like that it's like when she's calm, it's like that's a lot. Those are big emotions for the level where you're at. What else? Let's think about what else could be going on that's triggering that. And also remember, like, to find spaces to calm down because I don't love being yelled at like that. So You're taking the steps that you need to. She'll get there. Some of it's down the road. But I just feel like it's more than just the trauma. There's other stuff kind of coupled in there. So look at like the feeling I was like, look at her, like, so, and I say this, but like 60% of the population have MTH, some form of the MTHFR gene mutation, which if your vitamins are off and you don't have the right vitamins, is folate affects your brain and your hormones. And that is a B vitamin. And if you're getting it as folic acid and not as methylated folate, your body can't absorb it. It will cause you to have hormonal fluctuations. If you are progesterone dominant, PCOS, things like that, you, again, big emotions, especially PMS emotions, like, I called them my raging bitch emotions. So I started taking just progesterone because it turns out that I've suspected it for a long time, but I didn't fully look into it or research it. I have them, like my PMS is like nothing again now, like I was when I was a little kid. Well, not little kid, when I was young. And sorry, I never had really big PMS symptoms, but as my body became more dysregulated, it got worse. So anyway, okay, done with that. Okay, Aura, are you here? Cindy and J Girl. Thank you, everybody, for your patience, by the way. I feel like in July. So, but it feels like more towards the latter part of July, by the end of July. And I don't think it's because there's any problems with it. I literally feel like that people keep going on vacation. So it kind of gets delayed through the process. Does that make sense when I say that? So it's like by the end of July. I don't see it going as far until like, maybe at the latest in August 1st, but I still see it before then. Okay. So it just feels like this is easier said than done because I'm saying it and it's not really me who's stressed out about it. I know you need it for work. So it feels like by the end of July, and it feels like, again, it keeps getting delayed just because of like again, people keep going on vacation. It doesn't feel like, again, it's like, it's not going to affect me. That's the way they think. And it feels like, manifestation wise, if you can just imagine coming back in here and be like, oh my God, you were right. It happened. Da, da, da. That's a really easy way to manifest time frame, like seeing something happen, especially if it's like hard for you because you're so stressed thinking about that. Just be like, just imagine typing on here, oh my God, Anna, you were right. That's it. I got my permit. So I'm feeling, the reason I'm feeling closer to the end because I'm feeling like 5 weeks. When I ask about 5 days, when I ask about 5 days, it feels like that's too short. Okay, you had a dream about being engaged to a celebrity while you're still married. Okay, so I'm going to imagine you saying that to me too, because I like validation. Engagement and weddings were placed over my current wedding rings. I wanted to know the symbolism of the dream. Well, first of all, go for getting a celebrity. Kidding. As long as it's a good one. We always want nice people. We're kind and not divas. Nobody needs a diva. The rose quartz strikes me because I see that as like that's something for healing the heart chakra. With Shaq. Apparently he's very generous. Could you imagine if he was somebody that tall? Like, holy crap. He's tall. Sorry, I snorted. So for me, it's like, it's not about the healing of your marriage and that kind of happening. As I'm asking him, it's like, it's really about, okay, that wound that you have from your current relationship. It's the idea that something better is come in and cover that wound. It's not that it's coming in, it's just that you are stuck in an idea that I have this wound and it's like when it's time to take this off, like nothing could ever match it or cover that wound. Not match it, but you know what I mean? Like nothing could ever overcome the wound that's left there. And so this is like someone seemingly unattainable, unimaginable can come in and do this. So when we think about celebrities a lot, you think, oh, there's just no way we couldn't, they're out there and I'm down here, right? So it's this unattainable, unimaginable type of love that doesn't exist to come over. And they're sort of saying like, yes, that's possible. It is out there. There is somebody that's all the right things out there for you. By the way, celebrities are just normal people. They just have weird jobs that put them out there in the spotlight. And they're, great with PR, hopefully. Some people aren't, but, they're great at marketing themselves. But they are people, and at the end of the day, just remember, we all have to sit and wipe eventually. So it's not out of reach. It's totally, completely possible. Okay. Look at, I put in there Cindy B. No, because I took some of your other quote. Okay. J girl, you're up. My 23-year-old son, Shane, has been struggling with anxiety, depression for a long time. Psychiatrist tried several meds and nothing seems to help. What would help him? Considering acupuncture therapy. So I think acupuncture would be great for him. But immediately, I got looking at his vitamin D levels, looking at his vitamin B12 levels, looking at his folate levels, like see if he has the MTHFR gene mutation. this is gonna all sound woo-woo. So I'm like, obviously, I feel like do the doctor stuff, but there's a lot of like new age stuff that's safe and fine. But I feel like getting all of those levels checked, um, getting up in the morning, getting sunshine first thing in the day, um, and doing, I don't know if he'll want to do this, but doing castor oil packs, and also like really looking at his diet and what he's eating, because there are foods that affect it. And then also looks like they're like parasite cleanse. And you can look at a heavy metal detox. There's all kinds of like, so maybe it's going the route of finding a naturopath to work with him. But it feels like there's a lot of, it's not to say that depression is not real or whatever, but I truly believe there's a lot of stuff connected with our mental health that is connected to he sees a naturopath. So ask the naturopath to draw this up. Ask about a parasite cleanse and a liver cleanse and a heavy metal detox. I've done parasite cleanses. I can't think of the one that I've used. Some people say Parafy. I've never used that. I did a different one that had like wormwood and some other stuff in it. And then for heavy metal detox, there's a liquid bentonite clay, not a powdered one. There's a liquid one that I've used. There's only one liquid one. It's in a plastic bottle. I think it's got like a sunrise on it. It's just like there's a lot in doing castor oil packs, but it feels like there's a lot that has to do with his body being off balance more than it being like a need a medication to cover up the symptom of it. Does he talk about being like tired and having foggy brain? Because that's what I really feel around him. And even the acupuncturist, or if they're like a Chinese herbalist too, or something like that, they might have stuff for him for that. He talks about being foggy brained and yeah. So I would look at MTHFR gene mutation if he needs to change his vitamins to the methylated kind, because having a folate level be off can lead to anxiety, depression, and feeling foggy brained. Vitamin D levels can be off. He had no motivation to do anything. Yeah. If vitamin D levels are off, same thing. I mean, you don't even have to get it changed. You can just change his vitamins and tell him to start taking them. But the other thing to do with that, so when I did the liver stuff, all I did was I just started drinking. It tastes like grass. It's not awesome, but I do dandelion root tea and stinging nettle tea first thing in the morning. I drink a cup of that. There's also something called L-glutamine. I think it's L-glutamine. Look at it and see if that's what I ordered. It heals the gut, and our mental health is also connected to our gut. Now, I am not diagnosing, I'm not prescribing, I'm just mentioning things. You can do your own research and look into it. Yeah, L-glutamine. I study nutrition, so I know all the things. Okay, good. So it just feels like there's a nutrition component to him. There is a mineral deficiency component for him that's happening. That's contributing to it. And he'll feel a million times better if he gets a lot of that healed. but it doesn't feel like it's hopeless, I guess is the best way for me to say it. Okay. Um, so I don't know if they consider it an antioxidant. I have to be honest with you. I do know what it like the purpose of it is to heal the lining of the gut. That they do use it for like they've used it through I don't know if it's an antioxidant or if it's an anti-inflammatory. I say. It's an amino acid. So it's a protein builder. I just know that it heals the lining of your gut. And if he takes that, like I buy a powder form off of Amazon. I tried the powder form that Whole Foods sells, and it's like not good. I bought this other one off of Amazon, and you have to start small, and then go up, taper up, because if you try to do too much at once, it can cause stomach pains and things like that. It'd be really uncomfortable. So, but look at also having him drink teas to help clear the pathways, like the dandelion root and the stinging nettle is good, and milk thistle is also good for that. And then to go slow with it, just even doing the gut stuff helped. And then also folate. Like I'm telling you, if it's in folic acid form, if he has the MTHJ mutation, which 60% of people do, if he has that, you need folate for your gut too. So if you're not getting it in a form that your body can process, then that's an issue too. So like I took higher doses of L-methylfolate. I take like 15 milligrams a day in 2 divided doses. So I take 7.5 in the morning, 7.5 at night. Helps with anxiety. So make sure they're methylated. He might need a higher dose of folate, and then you might also need to do the glutamine. And you can ask the doctor about it, but for gut healing and things like that, and then a parasite cleanse. It just feels like kind of needing an overhaul. Like looking at diet and nutrition is the issue first. I feel like whoever you pick for the acupuncture, they might mention some stuff too. So I don't feel like it's hopeless. I just feel like it's a process, and it might take, I feel like you'll see a big difference in 6 months, but it might take a full 2 years before he's sort of like feeling back. Okay. All right. Thank you for staying with me and for hanging out with me during my bobbles and kerplobbles. I will see you all next week. Have a good one.